Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and honestly kind of mind-bending everyday mysteries of our entire existence. I mean, we experience time every single second of our lives, right? But if you stop and actually think about how it works, it completely shatters our normal understanding of reality. So let's unravel the arrow of time together.
So start with this. Why can't you unspill a glass of milk? Picture a ceramic coffee cup slipping out of your hand and just shattering on the kitchen floor. The milk irreversibly swirls and mixes into the dark coffee, and smoke billows up from a lit matchstick. We all instinctively know, without even thinking about it, that these actions never, ever spontaneously reverse themselves. You are absolutely never going to see that shattered ceramic jump off the kitchen floor and perfectly piece itself back together in your hand. But why? We just accept it as a fundamental fact of life. But as we're about to see, the actual laws of the universe make this a massive, glaring paradox.
Section 1. The paradox of motion, where physics works both ways. Okay, so here's where things get really weird. There's this massive blind spot in how we perceive reality. According to our absolute best mathematical models, we're talking Newtonian mechanics, quantum mechanics, Einstein's general relativity, the fundamental equations of the universe literally do not care about the direction of time. Seriously, if you took the math for two planets orbiting each other, or a couple of particles colliding, and you ran that math completely in reverse, the equations still work perfectly. There is no built-in forward setting in the fundamental laws of physics. It's a two-way street. So here's the million-dollar question. If the math works exactly the same forwards and backwards, why does our real lived experience only ever move in one direction? Let's look at Section 2. The law of thermodynamics, which is basically the engine of reality. The secret to this whole mystery lies in the second law of thermodynamics, and specifically in this concept called entropy. Simply put, entropy is just a measure of disorder, or probability, within any given system. In physics, systems naturally want to progress from a state of low probability, which just means something is highly organized and ordered, to a state of high probability, meaning things are totally disorganized and chaotic. Basically, entropy is nature's built-in tendency toward a giant mess. Let's put that into perspective. Think about a brand new deck of cards. A neat, perfectly aligned, ordered stack of playing cards is an ordered state. On the flip side, the disordered state is those exact same cards completely scattered and shuffled all over a table. Or actually, think of it like a brick wall. There is really only one specific, highly improbable way a brick wall stays neatly built and structurally sound. But there are millions and millions of ways for that exact same wall to crumble into a messy pile of rubble. Time appears to move forward for us simply because physical systems naturally and inevitably progress from a highly improbable state of order straight into a highly probable state of disorder. Which brings us to Section 3, the odds of chaos, looking at microstates and probability. So, getting back to our spilled drink, why don't we ever see milk unmixed from coffee? Well, technically speaking, physics doesn't actually forbid it. It is entirely physically possible for every single gas molecule in a room or every single liquid particle of spilled milk on a floor to randomly bounce in the exact perfect trajectory to end up right back inside the glass simultaneously. There's literally no physical barrier stopping that. The catch? It's all in the math. The statistical odds of all those microscopic particles perfectly coordinating to recreate an ordered state entirely by chance are so infinitesimally small, they're practically zero. Just how close to zero are we talking here? Well, to witness just one spontaneous reversal of entropy in a macroscopic object, like sitting around hoping to watch that puddle on the floor unspill itself back into your cup, you would have to sit there and wait for a time frame that is much, much older than the entire age of our universe. The probability is so overwhelmingly stacked in favor of chaos and disorder that, for all practical human purposes, it acts as an unbreakable one-way physical rule. Let's dive into Section 4, the cosmic origin. Scaling up the arrow of time. Okay, so let's do a massive narrative zoom out here. We're going to connect that spilled milk on your kitchen floor directly to the very birth of the cosmos. Because entropy is always increasing, always moving from order to disorder. It logically dictates that if you hit rewind on the clock and go far enough back, the universe must have started in an unimaginably ordered, incredibly dense, low entropy state. And you know what? That is exactly what the Big Bang was, 13.8 billion years ago. Our entire sense of past, present, and future, the very arrow of time itself, is driven by the simple fact that the universe is constantly expanding and spreading out from that initial, perfectly ordered point of origin. Finally, Section 5, the statistical progression, wrapping up the mystery. So what should you actually take away from all this? First and foremost, Time is not some invisible physical river or stream actively pushing us forward into tomorrow. Instead, time, exactly as we experience it, is simply the statistical progression of our universe. Because reality naturally and mathematically moves from states of high order to high disorder, we perceive that transition as the passage of time. The past is literally just a state of lower entropy, and the future is a state of higher entropy. You, me, all of us, we are literally living inside the mathematics of chaos.
I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. If time is just statistics, if the forward momentum of your entire life is just the universe naturally obeying the overwhelming odds of disorder, what does that mean for our ultimate future? Does it change how you view the present moment, knowing it's really just this temporary, fragile state of order in a massive cosmic progression? It completely reframes our place in the universe, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this illuminated the invisible mechanics of time for you and left you just a little more curious about this wild universe we live in. Catch you next time.